Hello and welcome to another show. This is Upsurge, and of course, this is where we always take the surge in the positive direction. It's always up, always right. We have real people, real issues, real conversation, and the vibe is always real. Well, in studio with us today, we have Nicholas Molly, we have Clayton Forbes, and we have Tyler Ramin. Jenna folks, welcome to Upsurge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so you ready to take the surge up?
Yes.
All right, okay. And of course, we have all angels here in studio. All right, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic today. We're going to talk about confrontation, how to handle confrontation. It's really broad in just saying that, but we're going to narrow it down in the whole idea of conflicts. Because if we note what is happening in the Bahamas, in fact, even the scope of the entire world, we see that there is a trend where violence is just escalating. And the sad reality about that is that young people many times is caught in the vortex of all of that. So we want to discuss that. What is your opinion? What is your take? What's your talk that you have on the whole aspect of handling confrontations?
Anyone or
Yes,
okay. Well, for me, I'd just be, mellow.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be too quick or too hasty to go into a problem. Actually, I'd just look at it at a different angle before I would step foot into it and see how I can help.
Okay. Because these things happen every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And what Clayton said, dealing with it from his angle.
Yeah.
I like that because you show us the choice.
Uh-huh.
You have a choice to lash out, and you have a choice to to not.
Yes.
And he's chosen not to lash out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main the most important thing
Uh-huh.
when I'm dealing with a conflict is to know that hey, I'm in charge here.
Yes. So conflicts will arise. Can you prevent conflicts?
I feel like people are naturally provoking.
Uh-huh.
We are sinful.
Yeah.
And no matter where you go, even in your own home, like between you and your parents, you and your siblings, in the church, you find conflicts everywhere. Most times, if you're in a situation that conflict is coming from, a lot of times it wasn't really your fault.
Yes.
Well, for me,
Yes. But it comes.
Right, it comes, and you can't run away from that. But how you respond is your choice.
Yeah. So how do you resolve a hot situation? Because sometimes, as you say, it's not your choice. It just happens. Someone step on your toe, and I'm not really just talking about step on your toe now. It can be just that. But when I'm talking, someone provoke you. How do you resolve it? Because we see where individuals are being bullied, and it reach a point where they are broken, and they respond, and the spin of it, it turns out into great violence. How does one control that kind of situation?
I think being mature.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maturity has a lot to do with it. Reason being I'm saying that is because, like I said, just knowing that who is in charge
Mm-hmm.
of this situation. Yes, the situation it boiled over,
Mm-hmm.
but I have the power to either turn the stove down
Yes.
or allow it to continue to boil over and it becomes a huge mess or even a bigger mess. So I think maturity has a lot to do with it.
Yes.
In terms of handling it in a more calm or more
Come
gentle
on.
way.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And I want to piggyback off of what he said because
Mhm.
a lot of times how it comes across is resolving conflicts is you walk away and you do nothing. When that in of itself, it's not you doing nothing. It's like he said, it's you being mature and you making a decision to not go down that path or, to
Yeah.
let that situation affect you that much. And
Yes.
that's a conscious choice. And a lot of times, we have our young men who like, oh, I know punk or whatever, like,
Yes.
but in reality, for you to let the
Walk
situation die down and walk away,
Yeah.
that is something that not a lot of people are able to do.
Yes. No, Tyler. That's really good. And many times, I believe if individuals would just walk away, we wouldn't find many escalation that we see in terms of body harms and sometimes death. But sometimes, and I want us to go there now, where we watch these videos on Facebook, and sometimes we see persons trying to walk away.
Yes.
But while they're walking away, you have persons who are instigating the fight, or there might be an aggressor in it, and following this person. So how do you really deal with yourself in those kind of situations? Even before we talk about this trending thing that is happening on social media, how do you deal with it when you try to walk away, but it's still coming at you?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to walk away from, say, for instance, a fight, and your friend is trying to draw you to the fight, I think you should look back at it. If you aren't a fighter, don't fight.
Yeah.
Not saying you should fight, but
Yeah.
if you aren't a fighter, don't fight. That's probably a friend trying to get you in trouble. You can either get killed or you can
Kill somebody.
Yeah.
Get hurt.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, students are bringing knives and things in school, guns, and no one knows this.
Yeah.
So if you let your friend lead you to your death, then who's going to tell your parents at home? Who's going to tell your folks at home?
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with pride, too.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's mostly in men, they have a lot of pride. So if someone tells me, oh, hey, you backing out from this fight, I know you can beat this guy. Me and myself, I know that I can't beat him, but my friend thinks I can beat him. I mean, I'm in a dilemma. Because
Yes.
I know I could die, but he thinks I'm going to live.
Yes, yes. So you're trying to please others, and that's what we see happening. Now, can you say anything about the whole posting fight on social medias around, and what impact that have in terms of how person handle confrontation?
Boy, um, yeah. With that, when it comes to posting fights and stuff like that, I to be honest, I hate watching it. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I really tend to be sympathetic with the one who is
Getting beat up.
yeah, getting beat up.
Belonging
And
to God.
but I don't think it can be stopped in
Yeah.
terms of the posting because of the how technology is being abused
Yes.
all over the world. But the way that we can stop it is
I respond to it.
how we respond to it is I always think about it like this. If me and you having a conversation,
Yes.
I mean, that's like I was having a conversation, and I'm looking like behind you like that. What would be your first response?
What is that was happening
Behind
there?
me, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is what we do. We just take this have this real interest into it. So I think if we just don't be interested in it,
Don't
so
share
much,
it. Don't like it.
right? Don't like it. Don't
And
share it. Don't laugh at it. Don't
sometimes
comment
not
on it.
even view it, because when someone put it up there, you see how much views this fight got, and say, hey, you see how much person view,
Right.
and then it spill over into other stuff,
Right.
damage other. You're saying something.
Right. I also think that another effect that it has is today, because of the influx of now these videos and these posts on social media, it has desensitized us to violence. Even on the news. Okay, let's look back about, I'm still young, but I could remember about 5, 6, 7 years ago on the news, and they're like, okay, over the weekend there was a drive-by shooting and 2 men were gunned down. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, like, we need to pray for this country. It's so wicked, like,
Yes.
okay, like really frightened.
Mhm.
And now you're like, oh, this weekend, well, last night, 3 men were gunned down in 3 different places, and you're just like,
Okay.
this world is coming to an end. Like, you're really desensitized.
Yeah.
And so when I was smaller in school and somebody started fighting, like, you was scared. All
Yes.
the teachers rushing up. You didn't want to see the fight because my mommy was like, you run from a fight. You don't
Yes.
know who's going to have a gun or whatever. Now, not personally, honestly, if somebody starts arguing, everybody's interested because
To
you
see,
want to
yes.
see. And I feel like social media has had a big impact on that.
Mhm.
It does.
That's a discussion to have in terms of the impact of social media and the way in which we, as young people, respond to life as individuals. But we'll have that discussion another time. What's your take, though, on how young people are actually handling conflict within the country? Are we doing well? Or do we really need to do something?
I don't think we're doing well, but in a way, I don't think we're doing bad either.
Okay.
Why I say that is because a lot of people do walk away.
Yes.
But then again, with pride, they think that you're soft or you just don't have it all up there to just go into the fight,
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the Bahamas that a lot of people, like she says, run to a fight,
Yes.
whether it's a good or bad one, or if it's your friend or anything. But I think it's good because that if it's your friend, you can help, like get help from an adult, or you can just pod them, or try to pod them.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a bad thing. Because a lot of students nowadays are legit walking away from the fight
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
to fight anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me something. Even as we are preparing to close this side, young people, the news out there, young ladies pull up on a friend, fellow young lady, end up in a confrontation, didn't handle it well, one died, the others in prison. Young man went to school, end up in a confrontation with another classmate. The end result, recess, one die. This is a reality out there. What do we need to do? What do we need to do as young people to better deal with conflict resolution in our school, in our little groups? What do we need to do? We could start it on this side and we could finish on the other side of a break.
Well, quickly, what we need to do, I think we need to stop focusing more on conflict resolution forums
Yeah.
and more focus on building the entire person,
Yes.
mentally, spiritually. I think doing so will then, the conflict resolution will then take its place, because finding conflict or conflict resolution forums, yeah, I like them. They're okay, but I don't think they are the resources that they're giving us. I think it's just way over our heads, because we're not as mature enough to actually perform those resources.
Okay. All right. So we're going to
start.
come back on the other side of break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
We're in Upsurge, and we're talking about handling conflict. This is a serious issue, and of course, we bring it right here in Upsurge, and we're not afraid to deal with it. We deal with real issues that are affecting real young people. So please, don't touch that dial. Stay right where you are, and we're coming back on Upsurge. Welcome back to Upsurge. We're having a wonderful discussion in here. The surge is right, and we are trying to send out there a positive message to stem the great violence that is just escalating everywhere. Now we're talking about handling confrontation. In studio, we have Clayton Forbes, we have Tyler Ramin, and we have Nicholas Mully. We were talking on the other side about dealing with this issue, because really the news is telling us that it's not nice out there. What can young people do in handling confrontation?
One thing, piggyback off what he said on the other side of the break, he talked about conflict resolution forums, right, and how sometimes they're not effective.
Yes.
Another thing that I feel we lack in society, especially with young people, is structure. A lot of these young children, they're raised in environments where violence is encouraged.
Yes.
And so, meanwhile, we could honestly be doing all we can to help, like have seminars and, give talks.
Yeah.
But if they go home and their mommy is like, "You've been in a fight? I hope you won. You ain't coming in my house if you get beat up by that other child." Or like, like the dads are like, "Oh, like I said before, I ain't raised no," and yeah, we could be hurting our heads trying to help, but it really starts with awareness. And because this is how these children are brought up, this is all that they know. This is violence, is how they express their emotions. And for some church people or some young people who never really had to grow up in that really rough environment to just come and be like, this is what happens when you're in a fight. And who's presenting has never been in a fight in their life.
Yeah.
It really, like he says, goes over their heads.
Yes, yeah. Okay, because some persons grew up fighting to live. But of course, that is no excuse.
It's not.
But you're saying that it is important to really meet the individuals where they are and try to move them from there to get them to a different level, a different perspective, a different way of seeing things, a different way of solving things. That is very important. And as you say, awareness is important. And, there are also consequences when confrontations are handled in the wrong way.
I think that's why a lot of people don't speak out on it.
Yes.
No one wants to be called a snitch or anything, but it just takes that one person to just at least not let everyone know that you're telling or being a snitch. Tell someone who, just tell a teacher or tell a guardian that you can trust that won't rat out your name.
Okay. A confrontation
You
might be
get
weeks
killed
or
for that.
sometimes months.
Yeah.
And it take its time. It's underneath the cover. The children are talking about, the youth are talking about, one group talking about, until eventually it just escalates into a big fire, and all of a sudden someone is badly hurt. So
no one wants to
talk
be that
about
person.
it. Then also, right, we're talking about the video. Now, when I post a video, there are consequences to that as well, right? What are some of these consequences?
I know, definitely. So I'm not quite sure what the department is, but the technology department arm of the police force who deal with cybercrime and cyberbullying, they came to our school. We had a PTA and they came in full force, guns blazing. And they gave a talk, and they have a fully equipped department with fully qualified professionals. And it's to the point now where things are getting so bad with children, and children are wanting to commit suicide over cyberbullying because of these videos. And what they do now is, if they find out that you have the video on your phone, because they can get it. If you have it on your phone, somebody might have just sent that to you on WhatsApp. Like, we be in all these groups and they just send you stuff and you just automatically download it to your phone. You can be charged for that.
Yes.
And you had nothing to do with it. Somebody just sent it to you. You might have not have even looked at it, but if it's going around and they're rallying up the persons with it and you're caught with it, you can be charged for that.
Okay, so on one side, when you promote the violence, you can be charged. And now when you're involved in it, so that's one way to think about it. So when you're involved in it, one, in promoting it, you can be charged. That's one consequence. When you're involved in it, I believe there are two consequences that can happen as well. You can end up in prison, or you can end up being hurt,
Or
or you,
broke.
yeah, or
Or broke because you getting charged for it. So
yes, 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 yeah, that's a good one, right? So that's a good one. But the truth is there are consequences that individuals have to deal with. The church and handling confrontation. Not everyone, as you have said, Tyler, is privileged to grow up in that perfect environment. When we say perfect, we say it, in context. Um, so, what role does a church can play with that?
to piggyback on, I mean, you don't really have to you don't have to grow up in a Seventh-day Adventist home
Mhm.
because I know a lot of people. Mind you, I know of a person who is the only Seventh-day Adventist in the family,
Mhm.
and she's a independent girl,
Yeah.
and she legit just made up in her mind that, hey, I don't like how my life's going. I want to change for the better. You know,
Yes.
they have those people in the world
Yes.
that can just come out like of bad terms, maybe
Mhm.
family, because like if you are fed up and so fed up to the fact that, hey, this isn't right, I gotta get out of here, you can change. You know,
Yes.
we are human, we do make mistakes, but you have those people that want to
Better themselves.
make better in their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, how does a church? Going back to the question now.
I think it starts with one member at a time. I Why I said that is because so many times you'll be in a food store
Yeah.
and you were there, someone rub the staff of the food store rubs a customer the wrong way. They would say, "I'll put down my Christianity for you," or
Yeah.
I'll put my Christianity aside for you. So it started with one member at a time, modeling what Christ had modeled when dealing with conflicts.
Yes.
And again, comes with maturity, spiritual maturity at this time now, because now you're thinking like Jesus, and giving up your rights.
Mhm.
It's very tough, but that's what we can have to do when it comes to now the church teaching.
Mhm.
Teach what Christ did. Christ
Yeah.
said, give up your rights.
So,
If someone
model Christ.
slaps you on the cheek,
Yeah.
you have your right
Mm-hmm.
is to hit them back,
Yes.
or your right is to even report it.
Yes.
But he
Mhm.
said no, turn the other cheek,
That's a hard thing to do.
and that's
Yeah.
hard because
Yeah.
now you're giving up your rights now,
Mhm.
and it's
So don't only think about what is in natural inclination to do
right.
as a human being, but think about what would Christ do in a given situation. Let's take it even a little bit deeper. What can the church do to actually help individuals in this setting? We're talking about young people to deal with the issue of conflict.
I definitely feel like a step in the right direction would be forming relationships with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a young man, a young woman, and you're just coming up to them, your program may be really good,
Yes.
and you may have a good whatever, but if you come up to them and you don't know them,
Yes.
especially, and you might rub them the wrong way. I was in Master Guides on
Yes.
Sunday, and Barry Saunders, one thing he said was, the best sermon is the one I could see.
Yeah.
You form relationships with these young children,
Yeah.
and therefore, little by little, even if you can't bring them to church regularly, somehow, like, we should always be a light to others. So somehow
Yes.
our influence should have some good on them. There will be situations where you and of yourself, you can't do it.
Tyler, as you talk about relationship, it dawned on me, right? Many individuals are void of positive relationship. They don't have positive relationship around them, and so they can't feed from anything that is positive. Hence, they feed from the negative vibe that they grew up with, or they're used to, and maybe, as Paul say, the things that which is bad that I don't want to do, I find myself doing it. So they find themselves doing that instead of doing that which they would like to do, which is good. So forming relationship, we can't get over that. So this come to my mind. Do you think that low self-esteem have any bearing on conflict resolution?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You say, yeah.
Oh, I say absolutely because if you, well, it all comes back to what we was talking about from the beginning. If you don't have that self-confidence in you to just walk away, then you're just as bad as the person who's in the problem.
That's right.
Yes.
So I really don't believe that if someone is so strong to the fact that, hey, I can just walk away. I know he's saying that I'm a punk. I know that he's saying that whatever. Well, I know what everybody is saying. I just still have the strength and the maturity to just walk away.
And not only that too, not just walking away, but even initiating it. A lot of initiating fights comes from low self-esteem.
Yeah.
I want to show someone that I
Yes.
I am
Big
big
and
and
tough,
bad.
yeah.
That's I'm the total opposite.
Yeah.
But I have to stud. I have to show who I am.
Yeah.
Or and so low
It's
self-esteem.
definitely a
Definitely.
factor.
And that was what I was going to say. A lot of times when you have low self-esteem, you feel like you have something to prove. And so, like you said, like, I have to prove to them, like, I could fight. And, like, I ain't just a nerd or whatever. A lot of times they want to impress their family, their dads, their moms, their cousins, who probably were bigger and badder than they were.
Yes.
And so if you don't have that, if you're not able to be, to me, I feel if you're not able to be okay with yourself, you will always have the capacity to be led astray or in the wrong direction by someone else.
Okay. I'm telling you, we're just ready to start talk in the show, but we're out of time. But we want to keep it positive. What could you say to a young person out there who have to deal with confrontation? In just a nutshell, what can you say to that individual that will propel that individual to, take it, in the right way?
I know it's hard just to be yourself. Everyone wants to be someone else, but just be yourself and walk away.
Things do get better. You don't always have to prove yourself to people to be, I don't want to say a good person, but you don't always have to prove yourself. There are a lot of times where in situations you could just avoid it altogether, walk away, keep yourself
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
safe.
What we can do, my advice is to identify the conflict, and to not every battle you have to fight. So choosing wisely what battles needs to be fought and words that needs to be spoken, and I think that's where it stems from.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So Clayton, Nicholas, and Tyler, it's a joy having you here on the show. Taking the surge up, putting a positive vibe out there.
It's a
But
pleasure.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much.
pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we're looking forward to have you back on show again. But you're out there, and of course, all of us at some point in our life, we have to face some kind of struggle. We have to deal with confrontation. But just take the Cain and Abel situation into context. You don't have to be a Cain, and no one needs to be an Abel. So just make sure that you keep it right, focus, drink some water, cool down, take a chill pill, think about Upsurge, and do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, we just want to keep it positive. We want to do right. So this is Upsurge, and we're looking forward to have you right here with us next time. So on behalf of the entire production team, our producer, Michelle Green, it is a joy having you tuning in. God bless you. It's a wrap.